Apple have recently come out with the 3rd gen AirPods Pro, and in this review I will not only show you what's changed when compared to the previous version, but I will also tell you whether it's worth to upgrade or not. Hi everyone, my name is Andy and you're watching Andy's Tech Tone. Thanks for tuning in. So I've got the brand new AirPods Pro 3 on loan from a very good friend of mine for this quick test, and I'm going to compare it with my trusty old Pro 2 to figure out what's changed, what's new, what's better and what's worse. Starting with the design, you can definitely see the difference between the two earbuds after a quick first glance already. The head of the new buds is a tiny bit smaller and it's also differently shaped, we got slightly thicker stems, and there are the brand new infrared heart rate sensors right next to the ear tips. There is also a slight bump in weight from 5.3 to 5.6 grams. It's not something you would notice in everyday use, but what I felt immediately was the firmer ear tips on the Gen 3 buds. According to Apple, they use these new foam-infused silicone tips to improve both the acoustic and the noise-cancelling performance of the Pro 3, and while I will talk about all that in a minute, let me make something clear straight away. I don't like these tips at all. Using the medium-sized tips on both models, I find the old ones to be more soft and comfortable. And while the grip inside my ear canals might feel a bit more secure with the new sort of stickier and firmer tips, I still have to adjust them just as much as the old ones during a run. And with the Pro 3, I've got this thumping/popping noise randomly on impact when running, which is an issue I've never had with my AirPods Pro 2s before. And even though we get 5 different sets of tips with the Pro 3 instead of the 4 sets that comes with the Pro 2, it's no help to me. I went one size down, but then the fit became loose, and when I went one size up, then the pressure was too much on my ear canals. Also, thanks to the new geometry of the buds, they sit deeper inside my ears, which, while improves the passive isolation and in some cases the fit as well, I believe that the old design simply suits my ear anatomy better. And moving on to some other, more welcome design changes, there is the improved sealing, which makes both the new earbuds and their carry case IP57 rated dust and water tight. It's a huge step up from the IP54 dust and splash resistant certification of the AirPods Pro 2, as based on these numbers alone, the Pro 3 buds are supposed to be able to handle rough conditions with ease, which does not only enhance their durability and longevity, but it can also impact your cortisol levels in a positive way in case you drop your earbuds in a puddle, for example. Onto the carry case, this one is both slightly larger and lighter at the same time than before, but again, it's nothing you would notice in everyday use. It still slides in any pocket easily, and it still has a solid hinge, a speaker and a lanyard loop. What's new is the ultra-wideband chip inside for an extended range of precision finding, and what's gone is the pairing button from the back, as now you have a touch-sensitive panel on the front for pairing purposes. MagSafe compatibility, wireless charging and the USB Type-C port at the bottom are all the same as before. And that takes us to battery life. The earbuds themselves can last up to 8 hours instead of 6 with the ANC turned on, and that is a substantial upgrade indeed. Of course, the use of extra features such as heart rate tracking or the hearing aid will impact the battery life. So for example, if you use your earbuds in transparency mode with the hearing aid feature, you can expect up to 10 hours of use, but with the heart rate sensors activated, all you get is up to 6.5 hours. But while the single charge battery life has been boosted across all use cases, the total playtime with the case went from 30 hours down to 24, make of that what you will. Quick charge is the same as before, as you can get 1 hour of use after only 5 minutes of charging the buds inside their case. As for the controls, nothing really changed there, as we get the same pinch controls on the stems with the single, double, triple and long press options for all sorts of media, ambient mode and phone call controls, plus there is the good old swiping up and down action for volume. You can make some changes in the settings on any iOS device, such as enabling a remote control function for the camera of your iPhone or iPad, you can turn head gestures on and off, and you can also enable or disable the wear sensors for automatic play and pause. You can use the controls to activate live translation on both the Pro 2 and the Pro 3 as well, but since this feature is not yet enabled on Apple devices within the EU due to some regulatory issues, I could not test it myself. But I tested the hell out of the new ANC feature, which according to Apple is now up to twice as good as that of the AirPods Pro 2. And while I have no means to scientifically prove it, I can confirm that there is a definite jump in the noise cancelling performance during everyday use. I'm not sure how much of the improvement comes from the better passive sale of those new ear tips, or how big of a role the new microphones play in this, but at the end of the day, what matters is that the new buds can block out all sorts of noises more effectively across the whole range, including lower frequency humming and droning sounds. But the advantage, in my opinion, is the most noticeable across the mid-range and the lower treble region, and that includes all human voices and random high-pitched noises as well. They also managed to keep the level of white noise extremely low during noise cancellation, and there is no feel of any cabin pressure either. All the settings and the different ambient modes are the same, and we also get conversation awareness on both generations. This feature pulls down the volume and turns on transparency mode automatically as soon as you start talking. And on the topic of transparency, the previous model was already well ahead of its competition in terms of how natural and clean its ambient sound was, and I always found it to be top of the class in all sorts of comparisons. And the Pro 3 delivers the same class-leading performance with maybe a touch lower noise floor and a slightly crisper sound. That extra crispiness might come through as a more intense ambient sound at times, but it still has that natural vibe to it and is free from digital artifacts or any other mishaps that tend to impact the listening comfort with most earbuds. Another area where the Pro 2 has always been my personal favorite is how they handle wind noise, and the Pro 3 has managed to step it up just a notch, even if the difference is barely audible and only noticeable at certain wind speeds and angles. But again, the improvement is there, and with that I have to say that the ANC feature as a whole package is a massive step forward, which makes the AirPods Pro 3 one of the best, if not the best ANC in earbuds on the market right now. On to the rest of the feature set of the Pro 3, the one and only upgrade comes from the new heart rate sensors, with which you can now track your workouts using the Apple Fitness app. I only tested the heart rate tracking briefly using my wife's iPhone 15 Pro during an indoor bike session, and I was happy to see how precise and reliable the data seemed to be. However, as an Android, Garmin and Wahoo user myself, I find it extremely frustrating that you cannot broadcast the heart rate data to any third-party hardware or application, which makes the new heart rate sensors completely useless for me. Or at least it is the case as of making this video. And again, it all works perfectly well with the Fitness app on your iPhone. As for other features, we will find the same Apple H2 chip on board the Pro 3 as before, so we get the same comprehensive suite of features, options and settings all integrated into iOS, such as spatial audio with head tracking, hearing aid, audio sharing or automatic switching between our Apple devices, which all have been available on the previous gen buds too. And while we still don't have any high-res and or lossless codecs, only SBC and AAC, there were some major hardware tweaks in order to improve the sound quality of the Pro 3. There is the different acoustically optimized geometry of the buds, then we got the new better sealing ear tips, and then there is also the different angle the speakers sit in your ear canals. And while I'm not quite sure if the actual drivers are new or not, the sound character of the Gen 3 buds is slightly different from what we had before. First, there is the bass, which definitely got boosted on the new buds. The lower octaves have more extension and more power. And while this bump at the bottom end usually comes with some muddiness in the upper bass and lower mids, in this case, there is not much of a bloat in that region at all. Most genres will only benefit from such an impactful thump in the bass, in my opinion. Throughout the mid-range, we got just as much presence, warmth and detail as before, but maybe because of the boosted bottom octave and the also elevated highs, the overall balance here changed a bit, taking away the focus from vocals. Instead, our attention goes to the higher frequencies thanks to the extra presence and detail up top. There is more bite in the sound of guitars or the piano, we can hear more nuances in the music and little noises in the background with certain recordings. Overall, there is more sparkle in the treble. With that extra energy, however, comes a bit of a sibilance as well, as some higher frequencies are more in your face and not as smooth as they are on the Pro 2. That contributes to the perception of more detail and dynamics at first, but it can also fatigue your ears more easily if you are prone to that kind of a sound. I'm not saying that the AirPods Pro 3 sounds shrill or bright, that's not the case, but I personally prefer the somewhat smoother and softer treble on the Pro 2, especially in the long run where listening comfort is key. On the other hand, I find the Gen 3 sound more exciting and maybe more vivid overall, plus there is the more precise image with a soundstage that's stretched out both horizontally and vertically. And that's a quality I like a lot about the sound of the AirPods Pro 3. And now let me give you a few microphone samples to see if there is any difference between the two in terms of their phone call quality, starting with the AirPods Pro 3. And now switching over to the AirPods Pro 2, I'm not sure if I can hear any meaningful difference between the two earbuds in terms of their audio quality, but next let's see how they can handle some noise. So I'm outside now using the mics on the AirPods Pro 3. So this is the phone call quality you can expect from these earbuds with some traffic in the background and also a slight bass fade into the mix. Now back to the mics on the AirPods Pro 2 again. The conditions are the same as before with some traffic and some wind, but I don't think there is any discernible difference between the phone call quality of the two earbuds. But let me know if you can hear any in the comments down below. And after all that, one thing is certain, and that's that the AirPods Pro 3 are clearly the best all-rounder noise-cancelling in-ears to date, but only for Apple users who have access to every single feature these buds have to offer. But the previous generation is still going strong and can hold its own quite well, so the question remains, should you upgrade? Well, to be honest, if you already have the AirPods Pro 2, especially the USB-C version, then the only actual feature you are missing out on is the heart rate tracking. And if you own an Apple Watch or any other smartwatch with a heart rate sensor, then you might not need to upgrade your earbuds at all. If you are still rocking the 2nd Gen Pro buds with the Lightning port as I do, then I would say that switching to USB-C could be a good excuse for an upgrade now. And speaking of good excuses, you will definitely have to upgrade if A. You think you can take full advantage of the new market-leading noise-cancelling feature in your day-to-day life. B. You can truly benefit from the more durable build quality and the heart rate tracking during exercise. C. You can make actual use of the longer single charge playtime. Or D. Simply if you want more bass. But there is also the possibility that you will not like the crisper highs or the tighter fitting, deeper sitting nature of the Gen 3 buds, as both these traits can negatively impact the long-term listening comfort in my opinion. One more kind of interesting fact is that in the US the new buds cost the same as before, and for example in Europe they actually come in at a slightly lower price tag than their predecessor. And that's the extent of the information I have that I could share with you as far as comparing the two generations of the Apple AirPods Pro, so let's call it a wrap. If you like this video, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to leave a comment should you have anything to ask or share. Thanks for watching everyone, hope to see you all in the next one.